volume of unity, divine light shining individually, collectively transforming community, peace in our human family.
As above, so below. Feel the pain in my soul. The red pill dissolved. Organized, no matter the cost. Politicians starts wars, they don't fight, they sit in the pause. And nothing lasts forever as long as we stay together. Give hell to the masses, watch the unity rapture. This is for the kids and the culture. It's one love, one growth, one light, light warriors. Gotta look at my people, man. Like, yo, so Urban Nerd, man, where we at right now? Tell the people where we at right now.
So right now we are at Connecticut College. We are in the middle of the Nappy exhibition by Juanita Sunday. I'm excited because we're sitting next to one of the pieces that I actually did. So this piece is also named Nappy. And this is the first art submission I've ever done. So I'm a little proud of my baby right here. So
word.
Yeah.
Word. Yeah, I'm looking around and I see some familiar faces.
Man, we got Kinda Queenan has some artwork next to us. I know Busy had did some artwork, some photography, and I'm not familiar with all the artists, but we just got some dope artists that have been in this exhibition, mostly Connecticut artists. We have one artist from New York, and it's just been all around I say it's like being baptized in culture, being able to just spend some time to walk around and see the artwork, the pictures, and just the combination of our culture and our hair. So it's really just been dope, man, to be a part of it.
Word. How'd you come up with yours? How your concept?
So it's really wild because Juanita was talking about looking for some artists for this piece, and she had already talked about what she envisioned for it. And so she was like, "Oh, I'm really like looking for some more artists, some more Black artists that could do something." So I was like, I could think of something to do, and she's like, "Sure." And I was like, "Yeah, why not?" And really, what it was, I had went with Ife and Shah. We did an event out in New York, actually, and I saw a collage piece. And I was like, "Oh, that's dope." I didn't know that could be considered art. And they're like, "Yeah, what do you mean?" And I was like, "I just never thought that I could do clippings of magazines."
Yeah.
Art. So when I had the idea, I was like, I got some dope comics. I got some old Ebony magazines. I threw in some engineering books that I had. And really, like, the process was dope because I did like 5 sections, and I did maybe a whole bunch of clippings. I said it looks like I was about to write a ransom note to Batman in my room and everything. But it came together dope, man. And it's really not only myself, like being able to represent the different sides of me, but just Black culture in general. I got to throw up between Black Lives Matter, throw Storm up there, throw up some poetry and just some engineering. And I really like the bottom because I get to throw a couple of my friends that got married. I got to throw in some pictures of their wedding. So it's all love. It's all love.
Yo, yeah, that's dope. That's dope, man. And is this like the only thing in this region right now?
So
that's Black.
Man. So it's to be honest,
art wise,
it's not a lot of Black art around here. So, we had Culture Studios. Since then, we had to close Culture Studios. Unfortunately, we got bought to make, apartments. So, it's always nice when, the only Black culture space you have in New London gets purchased to put up some more apartments that people can afford.
Right.
So, that's that. But they're trying to rejuvenate some areas. Landmarks have been doing a lot, trying to feature the culture, but it's not a lot going on for us out in New London, and that's the unfortunate part because I think a lot of people are starving for that. So,
yeah. I was walking around downtown and I saw the little well thing. I was like, that's cool, but I was trying to find something to eat real quick, and bro, everything looked closed. I literally had some Japanese spot. I was like, is this door even open? It said open.
And I'll go inside, there's nobody there. It's lights out, all types of shit. And then they're like, yeah, we're open, we're open. I'm like, what's going on? Like, yo, this is crazy.
It's interesting, man. Like they've been pushing to get downtown like up and going, so they'll do certain events. But you know, it's still like Mondays. If you had came, half the stuff would be closed because half the stuff are closed on Monday. So it's kind of the give and take. You got to catch it on the right night because, like you said, you'll walk around and be like, it's looking like a ghost town right about now. But specifically, you talk about us though. It's not a lot of as far as like music, art.
Right.
Like you know, you have some people trying to do stuff, but it always feels like it's like scattered.
Scattered.
You know? Yeah, and that's when people always say it's like that disconnect.
Yeah.
It's real.
Facts.
It's very real.
That's a whole bar.
It's very real, man.
That's a whole bar right there. Don't try to steal it. That's patent right there. We will find you. Yo, man. Yeah, man, because like New London seems like it's a black town to me. And there's a lot of black people here. And there's so much that can be done and stuff. Well, I bet you just white folks complain about like the crime and all that shit, but these kids ain't got shit to do. Like,
man, it's so real. Like, and again, you know, I teach high school, so when I hear stuff like, oh, you know, kids are riding on mopeds, they're doing this, doing that, and I'm like, there's not much else for them to do. A long running joke is us getting a youth center because we had promises of putting up a youth center for years, and it's like, yeah, they don't even have a place to play basketball. They got to go to Mystic for real. They got to go to Mystic YMCA, or they got to like.
How far is that?
I mean, if you don't got a car, man, you're probably not gonna make it out there. But like driving out there is easy, 20 minutes, like almost 30. But again, half these kids ain't driving, you know.
Yeah.
So you can just get them a gym, get them someplace they can do some things. We have some. Oh man, I'm losing the name. Camacho, shout out to Camacho. He's trying to put some stuff together for a studio, for a place where they could take pictures and do some things. But man, yeah, like you said, it's not a lot, and it's a big population of Black and brown youth, so it's unfortunate, man.
Yeah, and like that's the type of things that we've been talking about in New Haven as well too, and they like slowly but surely. What's going on? Sound quality check, guys. By the way, this is the very first live in person podcast, right?
Yeah, shout out to the growth, man. I've been seeing you working. Shout out to the growth. Like, girl.
I was like, I don't even know how we gonna do this, man. And then you was like, yo, you gotta come up.
Look, and like and come to the space.
Yeah, I gotta come up.
Be around the art, be around the culture, and then like I said, give your accolades to yourself for coming this far. So
yeah. It's been a journey, man. It's been a journey. But that's what we're talking about. I'm bad, people. Yo, bro, like the Q House is in one neighborhood. Try to get kids programs over there and shit like that. We ain't got nothing else for kids in all the other neighborhoods, really. Like, they're trying to cut arts, stuff. Shout out to CWA Youth Coalition. They collabing. Shout out to Lana. She does a lot of good work. We're going to be doing like a Justice Academy for the kids and shit like that. But really though, like they want Yale's just trying to take over. That's the whole issue. Which is why I'm so excited that like more Black people that got like assets are coming through. There's no way, there's no telling what else we could change. Because the scene, when you shout out to Don Ellis, the scene and shit like that is getting crazy with Black culture. Like kids are finding spots to like perform, the hip hop scene, and stuff like that. That's good. You know what I mean? So there's ways that New London can try to like do something. You know, they always. I remember our owner tried to tell me like, "Oh, hip hop brings violence and stuff." Like, I'm just like, Okay, it does.
But you, man, you'd be
I haven't
surprised.
been around when I was
Like,
playing.
like I remember we were at this is like the second spot that Culture was at, and we collaborated with I think it was like we collaborated with like the Salvation Army. We collaborated with a couple of different programs in the area, and we literally was just giving stuff away.
Word.
Giving food away, giving book bags away. It was just for the we were having people come in and get COVID tested.
Word,
Like,
that's
there was a
fire.
lot that we were doing, and so I remember at the end specifically, the owner was trying to charge us, and we were like, you said that if we rented this part where we were, that we would be able to use this, part of the building for free. And he's like, well, you didn't tell me there's going to be that many people coming in, and we're like, we're literally giving people food and they're headed out the door. It's not like it was an event. And
Yeah,
the
yeah.
way that he said it, I forgot the way that he said it. He said something like having a party. That's what he said. And I was like, one, people came in and got out and was getting, foods, getting benefits, getting places where they can to go get their health benefits. And I was like, unless you had an issue with the type of people that were coming, like it really was one of those, like, you just saw a whole bunch of black folks and you felt some kind of way and you called it a party. You didn't even take the time to think about what we were doing. And we had like the radio there, the day came. I was like, you dumb as hell, because you could have just walked through for a photo shoot and look, extra good right now in this. But you were so busy caught up, like trying to, get chickens down for some money, for some fees. Like,
Right.
it's those moments like those where it's like, do you really care about the community that you live in? Are you really invested? Or are you just trying to make a quick buck?
Facts. He just trying to make a buck.
Man, but we got some programs out here. So, even you talking about like things for like the kids to do. I don't know how I slipped my mind, but Writer's Block,
Word.
Andrea, Hilton,
Okay.
CJ, they do things for the youth and do things for poetry, which I definitely hope that they are able to, do things on a bigger platform and get a spot. Because it's been hard for them to find a spot with
Right. The grants
and
and
everything
stuff like that.
It's just the buildings, man. We have a lot of empty buildings in New London, and I'm sure that New Haven, y'all have your own issues with like cost of living, cost of rent, like trying to get a place secured. Like, it's a lot of empty spots out here, a lot of empty apartments, for real.
Oh yeah, I mean, when I was on the bus,
Coming over here, I saw there was like two building structures. I was like, oh, God, they do the projects right here. And I'm looking in the window. It's like, it's empty.
Yeah.
Oh, those shit's vacated. Like, two big
it's a lot. We have a lot of empty buildings in here, and it's people either they sitting on them, or it's like, oh well, now this is a historic building, so in order for you to do anything with this, there's a certain way we have to renovate this building. So by the time somebody like an investor looks at it, he's like, this is going to cost me a couple $1 million. I might as well just knock this down and make a whole new building. So it's really like some slumlords type shit. Like, and I didn't realize that until, working with Juanita and Culture. And it's like, yo, we ain't got heat. Like, this spot got flooded. Like, we got mold, and you still talking about we owe you money. Like, you for real right now. Like, you for real right now.
Yo, that's crazy. Yeah, they doing that in New Haven too.
I'm sure, man.
It's like the new thing right now. Like, squeeze as much as they can to get out at you while they not doing right about
with you and shit like that.
Yeah, man.
Who's the big like company around here? Like,
So
shit
you saying that? So it used to be Pfizer. Pfizer was like one of the big top dogs, but it's always been EB in the base. So we got Coast Guard, we got the Navy base right here. So anytime they're talking about things, usually the city talks about tourism, or they always talk about attracting like young work group and like young families so that they can come like raise their kids in New London. And it's always asked backwards to me, because I'm always thinking, you're so worried about the tourism aspect or attracting people from outside the city, like you're not healing the city. Like if you have a healthy city, if you have a healthy youth, if you have people that are just happy to live where they are, right, basic needs are met, then you'll attract other people. But if you try and do it backwards, where you're trying to attract the tourists, it's like, yeah, they'll come and they'll enjoy your little tourism event. They're gonna head right back, over the bridge, or they're gonna head right back to the other cities where they feel more comfortable.
Yeah, because I was thinking, I'm like, what is there? When you were saying tourism, I was like, what the hell is there to tour around here?
So they're putting up. I got you, man. I'll let you know. So they're building it.
Maybe because I'm from New Haven.
No,
bad shit over there.
Even when I say it, it's funny because you went by the pier, so you saw like Bank Street, everything.
Yeah, it looks nice. Yeah, that's all.
So they're building a Coast Guard museum on the pier, and for the pier, they're trying to. They have a goal of attracting the mega yachts. So they want to attract the mega yachts to come and dock here. And they feel like that could be, I'm guessing they want it to be like Carnival, where like they launch from New London. But again, it's like you're saying that, but the small business owners that you have can't afford to have their shop. Like, people can only keep their stores open certain days.
Right.
So let people come on a Monday, like you just got through talking about, stores is closed or they empty. So again, it's like, y'all are doing it ass backwards. It's like you're not worried about like focusing on the people, your entrepreneurs, your small business, your artists are paid and doing well, and then you can go spread out to tourism.
Exactly.
It's something that I always think about. I think about like between like New Haven, New York, Hartford, like when y'all have y'all parades and y'all events, y'all festivals, nobody's worrying about like we have to invite more people from out. We got to get people, tourists, to come see this. No, you're trying to put on a good festival, a good show for the people that are there.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
At the end of the day, like whenever anyone does their parade or does their festival, it's for the community.
Right.
Of course, you want people to come out from outside the community and enjoy it. But at the end of the day, if your people are happy and doing well, other people will hear about it and come check it out.
Sounds like their priorities are not in the right place at all.
I
mean, New Haven is the same way, but like, this is kind of sad that they do this. It reminds me of Bridgeport. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like my original hometown.
Bridgeport don't get no love.
No
man.
love.
And we talk about this when people are like, "Man, you drive all the way to Bridgeport," and I'm like, "Yeah," and you drove to Providence last night. Like you went to the mall.
Right.
Like you'll drive to go to Dave & Buster's, but when I tell you there's an open mic in Bridgeport, you look at me crazy.
Right.
Like
Mohegan bus right there.
like seriously, it is really wild. Like how people will turn their nose up. Like a lot of these cities that we really have culture in. And again, you go right to New Haven, and I'm like Bridgeport's right there. Like
20 minutes away.
But it is very real when people have like certain mindsets of how a city operates, or certain mindsets of how it's perceived. They don't even want to venture into some experiences that they're really missing out on. So it is sad, man.
Who's the mayor here?
So our mayor has been mayor for a minute. And
like I'm tired of getting reelected.
Because it's also like on one hand, I can sit and talk with him, and I can tell, like genuinely, like I can tell you care.
Mm-hmm.
It's also the sense of
black, white.
So he's older white man. So it also is the sense of like you play the politics,
Yeah.
And even being in, I'm not gonna lie, man, getting the position, becoming, New London Poet Laureate. I've been at tables and I've been able to sit and talk with people. And it's like I can talk with someone and be like, you care. Like I can tell you care. But it's also that sense of like, but are you willing to like roll your sleeves up and put in some work? And that's the question that's hard to answer for a lot of people. Like when stuff gets uncomfortable and we start getting into the nitty gritty of things, are you willing to really have that convo? When we start talking about, like even working in the school system, we start talking about representation. We start talking about really having more Black and brown representation in admin lead positions. We start talking about even in politics, like who's really at the table, who's really are we concerned about? Because if you keep talking about these apartments, is this apartments that everyone can afford? And it's that part, like the underbelly of the issue, that a lot of people, start real fast talking or start trying to divert they from the question.
Right.
That's the part that people don't want to address. And I say this last time because we just had a recent election for like what's called Board of Ed and like local election. I'm like, the hardest class that I ever have to teach is when my students realize they can't afford the city they live in. Like that's a hard
Yeah.
like lesson I have to tell them.
Do you know what percentage they have for public housing budget? Do
Man,
they have a percentage?
that's a good question because I'm not sure.
In New Haven, it's only 5%.
Hmm.
You drive around downtown and stuff, you see all these high-rise apartments being built. They
Hmm.
get $3 grand, $6 grand.
Do you know how many empty buildings you have?
In New Haven?
Yeah,
Oh, fuck, bro.
that's a percentage someone gave me. I can't remember off the top,
I don't know.
but it gives you also an idea of like you have all these apartments, but are they filled?
Right.
And I was even talking about that. I'm like, you want because there is people during the pandemic, the city. We need more artists. We need more artists to perform. We realize, like, yeah, you realize people stressed out, and you try to like put on the song and dance.
Right.
And you're genuinely trying to like make people feel better. I understand that. That's the power of music, right? And the power of art. And it's like, are y'all paying us? Like, are we gonna pay us to get in the studio? Are you gonna pay us studio time, like supplies, all these things? And so I even proposed to the city, I was like, wouldn't it just be easier that all these apartments y'all already put up that we know aren't really like filled out? What if you just like compensated them for like a month's rent and like rented that out to an artist for a month? I'm like, wouldn't that just like help both sides of this? You already done put up the building.
Right,
you already know that nobody gonna like be in there because they can't afford it. Like comp them for a month, get an artist in there, just like this is your studio for like a month-to-month basis, and then they'll actually have a place to do that work. Because you're not considering that people are making art and work and doing all these things out the building on top of having to work, on top of having to make bills and everything else. So it is that oversight, like you're saying, like you only putting aside 5%. But you also, want the same people that are probably the impoverished in creating art to do this song and dance for you. Like,
yeah. I mean, that's why even with the nonprofit that I work for, we try to put money in the pockets of our headliners at least. Because even if it's not like a big check, we try to do the best we can because we know all the issues that you just fucking addressed.
Yeah.
Extra money is always good money if it's not like a wage. If you give out extra money, give them opportunities.
Yeah, man.
That's starting ground. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
America likes to exploit artists very hard, and then the artist doesn't even want to be an artist anymore.
Man, I got a couple friends that started just now. Full-time artists, and I'm trying to get more in that mindset, but you got to unlearn a lot of stuff.
Right.
Like, naming your price, standing on that. And, I was a recent event, someone had canceled, and it worked out to where I was trying to spend time with family anyway. So I wasn't thinking about it, but I talked to an older poet, shout out to Frederick Douglass, poet laureate at Hartford. And he's like, they said they're supposed to pay you, right? And I was like, oh yeah. He's like, and they canceled without telling you ahead of time. He's like, yeah. He's like, they owe you a check. And even in the moment, I'm like, you right? Like I'm not even thinking about it as that. He's like, no, because you set time aside, you prepared for this. You really, this is your art and your craft and your job.
Right.
So if they're not, telling you ahead of time that it's canceled, you could have booked something else. And even in that moment, they have to honor the contract that they wrote with you. Your time is precious, and it really is recognizing that your art, your time, and something I read was you're not charging people for that poem,
right?
You're charging them for like the experience, the time, and everything else to craft that poem and to like hone that skill. And I said this to you, man. I give it up to y'all band members because like practice, like I got to watch a couple practices. I got to follow some of my old roommates and like really see their craft. And it's like, oh, you like gigging,
yeah,
and scrapping for
Yeah, before the pandemic, we was gigging hard.
Yeah,
and gigging every weekend. Every fucking weekend.
And you think about how many times, like, I talked to Chiba about this. Like, I realized when they're like, oh yeah, you got people, like bring your people and we'll get y'all drinks. And it's like, fam, I'm not calling up my people to come get drinks. Like,
facts.
Like we could do that anytime. Like you need to compensate. Definitely.
Where that bread at?
Definitely we coming out spending time, effort, energy towards this.
Right.
Man, But it's like I said, I respect it so much more, like because we really need to look at each other in the arts and music.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
if we are pulling people in, that we help and compensate them.
Right. Some places, some places they do right, man. But a lot of places don't, man. Like when we went to Long Island, they gave us a meal, they gave us a drink, and we got paid. You go to New York.
Yeah.
I love playing in Manhattan, and Eric already know how I feel about this. So when you go to New York, bro, like they be like, oh, half off all drinks and shit like that.
Yeah.
And then you get paid, but when that's cool, but it's like a 7-piece band.
Yeah.
The money that you get from them,
Yeah.
you gotta like bring people in. They don't want to fucking like promote for you.
Yeah.
You know this. I'm just trying to explain to them.
No, it's real.
It's real, bro.
It's real.
It's like, so you just like, bro, I hope we sell out. I hope we sell out. Because if we don't sell out, we're not going there for anything.
Man, I didn't realize too, because there was a couple people I was talking to. They're like, oh, you got to help promote. And it's like, help promote, fam. Like, if you already invited me out, like, I shouldn't have to be helping you do all of that too.
Right.
But that is like a part of the gig sometimes. It's like, help comp tickets. You get, I'll throw you, depending on how many tickets we sell, is depending on how much I can pay you. So it's like, so now it's already a complicated situation in itself, man.
And I wish that, because my thing is like, you got the venue, you have the following.
Yeah.
You could at least tell your people that go all the time.
Yeah.
It's like a bar.
Yeah.
Come out and support it. Like you telling us, like, oh, you gotta have a following and stuff. Like, how you established? People keep coming by over here. Like,
funny, man. We were actually here for the panel discussion, and it was a younger cat that came up and said he rapped too. And I was like, word. We just talking about some experiences. I was trying to drop as many gems as I could. He's like, man, I had someone. He's like, he's just asking about working with people. He's like, I had someone come up to me and say, man, I really love your music. Like, I want to work with you, but I charge. And I was like, man, he told you everything you need to know right there. Like, how are you going to come up and invite me into your space and then tell me like, you're going to charge me, or you want me to promote, or you want me? It's like, you clearly didn't like check on what I do and what I'm bringing, and I try to balance that, because I definitely reached out to some poets, and I recognize how I approached them could have like triggered them a certain way where they're like, hi, what's up? How are you doing? And I was like, okay, let me make sure I approach people respectfully, right? Right. I definitely got someone who sent me like an art who's like, submit a poet to come perform. I'm like, I'm not. And I know that can come off like, I realize how that can come off like real like self-indulged, real pompous. And it's like, I'm not. But it's like, I've been doing this for a minute. Like I've really worked hard on my craft, like to get to where I'm at. So it's like, so if you want me to come perform, like you could just ask me to come perform, But for you to send me and ask me to send a submission, it's like, and then again, not even know, hey, how you doing? What's up?
Yeah.
And then I respond with, hey, what's up? And I get nothing. It's like, all right. It's like, like it's again, it's no fade, no diss, no knock. I respect you. I want the best for you. I'll probably even come out and support, because you got my peoples coming to come perform. But it's like, you really you can't lose that personability of like, I'm a human first, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, even like, I only think about this because it was real. I was like, yo, last minute, we need a drummer. Chiba had told me that you drum. I'm like, yo, I will come pick you up. Like the fact that it's like, well,
Chiba told you that I hand drum, right? He didn't tell you that I know the kit, right?
So yeah. No.
I don't know the kit. I'm trying to learn the kit
because it was perfect for the event we had, but it was the personability of like, I'll extend this too, because we know that we're asking. It's a big ask. So the least I could do is come pick you up. It's one of those gives and takes that you have to have some kind of.
It was also spiritual. I never actually did Kwanzaa before too.
So
that was a new thing. Now I celebrate Kwanzaa all the time now. So it was like a new like understanding of like a culture I haven't like gotten to yet. Juanita is here. You want to come say hi real quick?
She gonna wave from the back because she don't like getting put on the spot. But we do need to, if you put like the sound claps, everything else, she gonna do a walkthrough.
Hey, I got my graphic card. I could put the clap sounds actually, but it's all the way over here.
So we do have to congratulate Juanita her new position in New Haven. So she will be leaving us in London, but like Jabari said, Jabari was like, Juanita's gonna do some crazy things in New Haven.
Yeah, God, they need more. They need more of us in that type of space, man. I'm excited, yo. I didn't know Finn was a part of it.
Oh yeah, they messed up. I didn't because
even
between Finn, like the whole stack team and Juanita joining. Right. Oh yeah, Shaw. Yeah, no, we were talking about Finn and Shaw before too.
Yo, that's crazy, yo. That's gonna be amazing, man.
Oh yeah, Shaw, Ife, big ups to all of them. Like we need more people that really look out and like we talking about that personal ability because whenever they have an event, they make sure that we taken care of. We know what's going on. We primed and ready, and just making sure that we all look good and we ready to go. Because at the end of the day, like man, we putting this art out for everyone. But we know at the end of the day, this is really us putting our stories and like our heart and soul into this, man.
Yeah, that's facts. That's big facts. Damn, yo, I can't wait, bro. Are you coming or are you gonna stay in New London?
So I'm not sure where. I don't know what the Lord has in plan. It's funny because my cousin Lux Pro, he's my DJ whenever I'm like trying to perform, do some stuff. He was thinking of moving up here. Man, he was trying to move up to New London. Peep this. Threw in his application. I think he had to do something where they asked him for like more info. So he gave him his info, like, and he's like, I bet money they saw my last name. They like kicked the price up on him. He's like, you serious? Like,
oh man, I won't be surprised, man.
So he was looking to move to New Haven. So he's found a spot out in Maryland. But it's something that he's like, he definitely wants to come out to New Haven and do more events. But I'm gonna be down there. If I'm still in London, I'm still gonna be coming through New Haven. This year has been crazy as far as teaching. Buddy, I ain't gonna get into it, but I'm not sure, man. I'm so open to it. The position I'm in now, New London Poet Laureate, is a 3-year position. So,
yeah.
The first year kind of flew by already. I'm just kind of trying to be open to what like the next 2 years can look like.
Right. Yeah. Man. Look, man. Let me tell you, bro. You do due diligence, man. You do.
I appreciate you.
You do everything you can, man, and that's just like it's like a big deal.
Yeah.
You got being a teacher, man, is just such a big deal, bro. And they don't respect teachers,
man.
Especially when you got black teachers, and it's just like not paying them, and they got this critical race theory that they complaining about. They don't want to teach that shit. And I'm just like, oh, but you want to tell us how we feel and how Africans look. Let me tell you a story. Something very funny that happened like 2 days ago. I was talking to my boy Taquan, who was a black front man for Metal Man.
Gotcha. Oh man, I can only imagine what that's like.
Yo, he's a fucking monster.
Yeah.
He was like on this TikTok. I think it was a TikTok. And he was on the feed just like looking because they was making jokes about how Africans treat white people better than actual black Americans, which is kind of true, but it's not like a mainstream really.
Yeah.
Like there's just some colonized Africans that don't want to associate with black Americans.
Yeah.
It's fine. But you see in the comment section, every fucking non-black person is like, yeah, this is true. So then it was like trying to talk about South African history and shit like that. So I'm like, oh hell no.
It's like that family when it's like family talking about it.
Right.
Family talking about it. But then when you start seeing other people talk about family, you're like, all right, chill out. I understand that.
And every black person that went in that comment section was like, I don't know where they get this from, but I'm like cool with mad Haitian niggas. I'm cool with mad niggas from Ghana. I'm cool with that's what I was telling him. Like, bro, like we don't really have that issue anymore.
Yeah.
And Malcolm X talked about that. He dispelled that whole myth like 60 years ago about how Africans are all hating on black Africans.
Yeah.
It's not really a thing. Like I have so many great relationships with all different types of African Americans from all different nationalities. They don't be like, oh, I don't like you because you're black. in Black Americans stuff like that. Like, nah.
I've learned, man, that it's an older thing though. That's the thing about it. Cause like when I talk to like, I got a bunch of friends that are Nigerian, a bunch of friends that are from all over. And when I ask them, like what are your parents are saying? And they'll be like, African Americans don't have culture, they don't have this, they don't have that. And it's not the in-person experience, it's the myth, the facade, right? Myth. And that's where it gets continually perpetuated when people are in the comments like, yeah, this is real. And it's like, no. I saw someone post a picture of a black baby in a womb. It was just a diagram, right?
Right.
Someone said, I realized I've never seen an actual like brown skinned baby on a picture or diagram. And it's like it didn't click in my head until I saw this image. And then you got people under the comments saying that's because babies aren't brown like that in the womb. And they're like, what makes you think this? And it's like when you're so trained to seeing something, you think it's normal.
Yeah.
Hearing something, you just hear that it's normal. Oh yeah, Africans and African Americans don't fuck with each other. Yeah, I heard that before. So it must be true.
Well, listen, we do be hating on each other. That's true.
Who's perpetuating that, and who's like feeding the fire for that?
Right.
Yeah. So it's
a colonized mindset. Once
really
you get colonized, you learn to love yourself.
I got to. I'm not gonna lie. Like I was blessed to have the opportunity to go to Kenya actually. So it was through like college. It was like a grant that we took to travel. So for a month, I got to go to Nairobi, Kenya. And I tell you, like everything that I had gotten poured into me, right? Oh, it's gonna stink. Oh, it's gonna be like dirt roads. Oh, it's poverty. This, that. Like 5 cents you could feed a child. Like this, everything that you've been poured into your head is just everything you're thinking when you're like touching down. I step off and I'm like, this is the most beautiful place I've been. I see people like coming off the plane, or I see people walking around the street, and I'm like, you look like my cousin. You look like my sister. Like it was real, like surreal. That moment of like, I can't tell. And like when I'm walking around, people are speaking to me like, not even thinking that I'm American. It's not until they hear my voice and they hear my accent.
Yeah.
Because if we weren't talking, they would have never known.
Yeah.
That's the part that's real crazy.
Yeah.
And that's when you really have that moment of like, oh, this shit ain't real. Like they really got us out here like really talking about each other. But when I touch down talking to people, oh, hey, you from the United States? Like, oh, you're from here, you're doing a project. Welcome, enjoy our country. We're glad to have you. Enjoy yourself.
You hear that? I hear that,
yo.
That's what some of my friends that went to Cuba was saying as well too. They said that I didn't even notice that they was like Cubans considered themselves a part of the African diaspora.
Yes.
And also the African country.
Ooh, but it depends on which Cubans. That's the part that's
trippy. We're not talking about the Florida.
That's the part that's trippy. Because you got Cubans who are like, yeah, I'm black. And then I know black. Like, it runs
you hear that a lot in the States. Yeah.
It runs deep. Man. But it's real. Like even your friend experienced that. It's like everything.
They was so nice to them and giving hospitality and stuff like that, and they were able to like go over on Havana and stuff like that. And I saw pictures of Rihanna being there too, and they was just like in the streets flooded.
Oh yeah, you already know.
People in the comments are just like, how do you know who Rihanna is? Because they got internet, bro. Like
it's so funny.
Oh, she is, bro.
It's so, but again, it's that small-minded. I always tell people, I'm like, yo, man, travel. Like if you could travel. Because the more people you have conversations with, you realize how much of everything is just a lie. It's a lie.
Facts.
Yeah.
It builds bridges. It makes you understand more. I haven't gotten the opportunity to travel yet, but through like the internet, I've been able to like be in Zoom calls.
Yeah.
Invite people onto my podcast from different countries and stuff like that.
That's amazing too.
Like, I had Afrobeat artists on. I got another Afrobeat artist that's in Nigeria. I'm going to interview next week.
I got a poet.
Learn so much.
I know a poet that I want to share with you too. He's a dope poet and he does a lot. But even like being able to do open mics virtually, someone's like, oh, it's 4:00 here, but I'm up for the love of like doing an open mic with people. Like that's when you start really breaking down them barriers. And I want to say too, because I listened to a couple of your podcasts, man. it's also the mindset that you come into that convo, right? When you come into that convo, like I might learn some new stuff. I might say some ignorant things, but I'm open to like learning and changing my opinions. Like I hear that in your voice when you're talking to people because you're always willing to learn and
Oh yeah,
even make those mistakes in the convo. Like some people just don't. They feel like they want to be perfect when they're talking to people. It's like no, you're gonna look dumb. You're gonna sound dumb sometimes. But
oh
are
yeah.
you willing to catch yourself and learn and change your mindset? And I hear you, so I definitely want to give kudos to you while you like interviewing people because I hear you when you're doing that.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't come into the world thinking that I know everything, and
Yeah.
I think the fact that people try to, I don't want to say King Solomon started all this, but a lot of people like address King Solomon as like the wisest man and stuff like that. And I don't think he really felt that. I felt like the reason why they felt like he was the wisest is because he literally was just so diverse, having so many cultures involved and stuff like that. And yeah, he had mad women, but it's like he was also respecting their cultures, building temples for them and stuff like that. Um, I don't think that was wisdom. I think that was just being someone that was accepting all walks of life and celebrating all walks of life.
Yeah.
And that's what I try to like. I try to do that. I try to celebrate, accept all walks of life. I may not agree with you on everything, but what I do know is that I respect where your mindset comes from.
Yeah.
I respect how you were raised, stuff like that. We may clash on things, but it's never a clash like how the media is portraying.
Yeah.
It's calling people that don't want to get vaccinated anti-vaxxers, and that whole divide, that whole apparently there's only a right and a left when there's not only a right and a left. Everybody has mad different perspectives.
Right.
Mad different perspectives. I consider myself a socialist, and somebody else can consider themselves an anarchist, somebody can consider themselves a moderate.
Yeah.
Where do you put that on the spectrum of just right and left? You can't put that on the spectrum of right and left.
That's the part that's real. It's so weird, man. Actually, it's real ironic. I actually ended up on Fox Radio one day.
Yeah.
I was like on some like, oh well, this is happening today. Like,
right.
I had been asked to give a poem at the police chief's inauguration here. Being a middle-aged black man in America, that's not conflicting at all. So I wrote the poem and I really did it from a perspective of one of my students, like things that they're going to run in, issues that they're going to have. And I really told the story from that perspective. And, even at the end of it, I was like, hey, if you're going to be a police chief, for the city, make sure that it's for everybody in the city,
Right.
Shook his hand, got off stage. Man, it was hot. People was hot. They was like, how dare he grandstand and make it about himself? And this is a celebration. Why would he? And it was one of those moments where it's like, man, you wanted me, like, again, you asking a black man that has worked, like raised in America, seen everything that we've seen, like everything that really like boiled over last year just happened last year, y'all. Like y'all forgot that quickly.
I forgot that.
So what do you do want to talk? And some people were also like, clearly y'all don't know Josh. Like, clearly y'all ain't hear his poetry. So afterwards, there's like, I was in the news, I was in the newspaper, whatever.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about that, but I didn't know how I was going to be able to ask.
Oh,
you.
I don't care. We can talk about that. Like,
yeah.
It's
what
real.
the fuck was that going on? Like, did anybody threaten you after?
Nobody threatened me.
God.
But people, it's very funny what they focus on, right?
Right.
I tell you a story, right? And, even put it in the form of a poem. I tell you a poem, real honest poem about the perspective of a middle-aged black man in America. I also tell you the perspective of a teacher, a black teacher in New London, and the experience of a black youth in New London. And y'all are talking about my grammar. Y'all are talking about the time and place. Y'all are talking about, I just want attention. Y'all did everything you could to avoid what I was talking about, right? Like I talked about mental health. I talked about feeling terrorized. I talked about getting dragged by a police dog at like 9. Like I talked about all of these things, and y'all skipped all of those facts, like facts. You didn't think that the youth in London felt this way. You didn't think that people in the city felt this way. And I'll tell you, my favorite part about that piece is while I'm doing the piece, there's one man over here in the corner that's like, facts. Go off, and it was silence.
Let's
silence.
go.
At the end,
Well, good thing they didn't cut you off.
oh no, like but like people came up and shook my hand, and that's what people like try to like act like didn't happen. People came up and shook my hand. I think his grandma, the police chief's grandma, came and shook my hand. Like there's people that understand that are part of the police fraternity, right? Like, let's not act like y'all just because you put the badge on, you don't know what it's like to be experienced as a black man.
Oh, no, they do. They just try to.
So you say what you have to say, but at the end of the day, it was a good lesson for me.
Right.
It's also, I knew I never would ever get into politics because I'd rather speak the truth and you be mad than try to like give you some honey.
Well, that's why people. Bob Getty, he asked me, "Oh, you should run," and exactly what you just said.
It's like I do more for the community from the outside, holding you accountable. And, and I can be connected to committees. I can be connected other ways, but like if I'm the figurehead, like just that piece alone. And I also learned too, and again, I really appreciate Frederick Douglass, like some of the older poets that I'm a part of, because they said, what message are you trying to get across with your poem? It's like, are you trying to leave them with, a narrative that, reveals where they might be ignorant about? Or are you trying to punch them in the mouth? And so, I was at that point, I'm not gonna lie, I was trying to punch people in the mouth. I was like,
right there.
And so when people say that's not the time and place, like that was the only time I was in the comments. I'm not gonna lie. I was on Facebook in the day and I was like, what is the right time? Like
what is exactly
so
when is the right time for us to talk about this?
They said a Black Lives Matter protest. And so
now that's acceptable.
So I said, okay. I said, if you had been to the Juneteenth event that I was at, I give a very similar speech. I give a very similar poem to our people about us doing better. And even in that, again, they never point out that I talked about, trans people being killed, that I talked about, the abuse that Black women have, the need of Black men to hold ourselves accountable. Like I did all of that. I talked about all of those things, but y'all never address any of that. Y'all just talk about time and place. And y'all just talk about this is supposed to be an honorary moment for the chief. I was like, yes, but I need to hold him accountable, right? Yeah. So when
he's a public servant.
So even off of that, I was like, but ironically, there were no police at the Juneteenth celebration.
None?
No.
Not surprised.
So,
but they want to talk shit about. So they got to hear it. You were just giving them you just give them a summary.
What better place? I remember my pops was cracking me up too, because he's like, oh, the balls it must have took to. I'm like, yeah, police chief from Norwich, police chief from, and they're like, all right, and Josh Brown coming up. I was like, all right, there's no turning back now, But I'm thankful I did it. I'm thankful that people are mad because now you know how we feel. And when I came into the Fox Radio, they had all those questions ready to go. They had everything else ready to pitch at me.
Is there a link on that?
Yeah, it's a podcast.
Send me that. I'm gonna see that.
And I, man, of course, while you're in it, you're like, man, I wish I could have said more. But between the inauguration and me doing the podcast, I got to speak and people got to hear me, and now all of y'all are talking about my poem. And even while we were up there, they're like, well, it worked because y'all are talking about it.
Right.
And it's 2-3 weeks afterwards, and now you're combing through my words. And if anything, you're getting a piece of how we feel, and you're reading it. So if it made you mad, good. And even when I was over the summer at the middle school, one of our safety team, he's like, hey man, he's like, I know the police chief, and I know how he feels. And he's like, and I want to tell you that my mom said, keep doing what you're doing. So like to have someone, I went and got like some beer after school and say, hey, you the poet laureate? Keep doing what you're doing. like that's the stuff that kills me.
Yeah.
Comments like at one point it's like, really, we talking about grammar, y'all? That's what we talking about.
Well, that's how they do, man. Like it's that's how they dehumanize you. You know what I mean? Like with the Mom Harvey trial, this fucking chick talking about, oh, his toes are dirty and shit like that. Like, really, like what they got to do with the case? Like, he wasn't wearing no socks or anything. Like
anything to do to like to steer away from what's going on. So for me to have like police members or people on the police, fraternity, or just a random dude on the street, it's like, keep going. That's all I need.
Right.
Like, and even if I didn't get that, like I can talk to my student and I can send him the poem and be like, yo, I wrote a poem about you. It's like, and I want to send you, like, I want you to read this and like know that like there's people that really care about you and want to see you succeed, do well.
That's
like,
fire.
I could care less. I could care less. I could care less.
Anything else you got coming up? Like any other projects, man? You already got the city mad at you, so that's a good momentum right there.
It's one of those things, man. Like I've been trying to like slow down because like during the summer I did a lot, man. I was like, in New Haven, down in London, Bridgeport, Hartford. So I've really been trying to take some time to like really dial back in. Like I do want to get back to making some music. I do want to really, if I get this grant coming up, because I really excited that the state and the city has been doing more trying to help out with artists. But I'm thankful that I'm surrounded by dope artists like yourself, like Colton, Juanita.
Oh, thank you,
I'm thinking about doing like a short film. Because I have a poem I did actually for the Nappy exhibition, and I want to turn that into a short film possibly. So I watched, I got to do a music video with Colton. I got to work with Gary, Noetic Productions, and I got to see like some things. And I'm like, I could fuck around and put together a script, and I could do this. And why the fuck not? Like, you really, if there's a will, there's a way. I'm gonna make it work. Like I laugh because definitely between Juanita and Erica, we definitely put like 2 music videos together in a day. I'm like, this is the idea. This is what we're gonna do. Now I'm like chasing Erica with strobe lights, and it's a dope music video that came out. Yeah, man. Look forward to that.
Just a fucking crazy project. Erica got some shit, man. I was showing her shit to my girl, and my girl was like, wow, like she's not signed yet. And I'm like, she signed to Juanita.
And it is, you need to have those times to like work with some people without really push you. Because if it wasn't for Erica and Tati were like, where the fuck is your music? I'm like, you're right. And then Juanita throwing ideas out. Like, it's good having a team where you can start like just a spark of an idea you had. They can really help you like give birth to something you even think that you would really like conceive. So
this podcast, I got some equipment.
Come on.
For it to come in. I was hoping it came in when I was chopping it up with you, but
make it work. It's always like when you able to get some equipment and you actually like spend the money for the equipment, you're like, let me invest in myself a little bit. Like,
right.
Man, that's a good feeling.
Yeah. Like, definitely, if you like this podcast, share, like,
all of that,
all these damn views I'm seeing, and I'm all like, half of it is like 3 seconds. I even have like 10% is playthroughs, and I'm like, playthroughs. Sometimes 15%.
So I'm gonna help you out. There's a new app. I'm trying to remember the name of it, but it actually helps you speed up your podcast. Also, if you look at Spotify, I think there is a speed variation. So for all of y'all who are like, it's an hour long, like, if you speed it up slightly, it will help you get through the podcast quicker. And y'all, like, there's a lot of nuggets within all these podcasts. When I tell my friends this too, like, we understand if y'all skip through certain parts to hear things, but I'm telling y'all, like, jumping on the podcast in your car, jumping on a podcast while you're working out, cleaning the house, like, there's different ways to like consume it. And even in bits, like, I'll be honest, like, I'm saying in the mornings. It took me a couple of listens to listen to a couple of your podcasts, but then it's like I get the gist of the convo, and then I'm like, man, then I can like dig deeper into other artists or other people you're talking to. So there's so many ways to consume the podcast, y'all.
Right. Yeah, man. There is. I mean, I listen to podcasts while I'm at work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I listen to podcasts when I'm about to go to bed a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways you can like put it into motion and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And even if you don't even finish it, like I'm not worried about not finishing it, but listen to my shit, man. But people listening.
Yeah.
It's just that I'm annoyed with Facebook because Facebook making it seem like, oh, you got 1,000 views, and then you look at the fucking analyze and stuff like that. It's like, oh, majority is like 3 seconds.
But you're
so
Kev on stage said this. Facebook is funny.
Yeah.
Facebook is funny because any post that you have where people are leaving Facebook,
yeah.
They'll like demonetize it. They'll like find ways to slow it down. So he's like, people don't show, Kev on stage was like, people don't show my website love because anytime I post it on Instagram or Facebook, they like bog down who sees it. So Facebook does that on purpose to also discourage you from posting that. So don't take that to heart. Because sometimes it'd be funny with their numbers. I'm learning that with Instagram too. It's like if I post a video on Instagram, everybody see it. Same with my cousin. He like sends like links to everything. People usually don't see it as much, and it takes like a second effort to get people to really like click the link and go. Man, sometimes that algorithm be working against you, man.
Yeah, I mean, I told you earlier, bro. Like they did some new setting that you had to go into your settings and adjust it. And I was looking because I was wondering because I was getting like at least 500 to 1,000 like rels because I was like, posting rels and stuff like that. Then I noticed our rels were going down to 30 views and stuff like that. So I looked into it and there was something that Instagram changed. It didn't really tell anybody.
Real
as
funny.
soon as I changed that and put the new rel up,
it's real
5,000 views. I'm like, what the?
It's funny. It's real funny because it's almost like they work against you. And even it got to the point where, same like you said, it costs nothing to share something, y'all. It costs nothing. And you realize some people keep putting those posts up like this post if you see it, comment if you see it, because it's real funny the way that they do certain things. And it does come back to advertisement. Like they just want to make the money.
I spend too much money on advertising.
Yo, I will put $5 on something real quick, but I don't be putting much more than that.
No, I put like fucking 20, 50. And that's just Facebook.
But they add
Twitter
up.
too. I'm putting money.
Yeah, it adds up, man.
It was like I need to stop because, like, I mean, it's the following is showing, but because people are liking, people are starting to follow me. So that's good, but I'm just like,
but that's the game now.
Like,
that's the game. That's the crazy part. Like, if you really do want to get out, sometimes you do got to spend that money to really invest in getting people to hear it. It's the modern radio now. Like,
it is.
Yeah,
it really is. My mom thought I was on the radio. I'm like, Mom, I don't do radio. Mom. I do like social media. Like, I just go on live on social media. I don't do radio. She's like, isn't that like radio? I'm like, no, it's not.
It might as well be. Like, shoot, it might as well be you really putting in the work and effort.
I respect everybody that's on the radio game. Like, I'm trying to get Smack radio attention.
Oh, yeah.
Smack.
Yo, man, throw back the
he be liking my shit. I'm like, bro.
Throw back.
Come on, bro.
Yo,
get me in on that.
Yo, Rob a shot, man. Hey, man, I see you. What's going on? I'm gonna show love.
I'll be harassing them, I'll be hitting them, liking everything. Like, yo, that's fire, bro. That's
it don't hurt to reach out. At this point, like, we only so many degrees of separation away. Like, it don't hurt to reach out and ask, man. That's what I learned. And half the stuff I do, like, even when I was like, you ain't know me from nobody. I have no problem reach out to somebody and be like, yo, what's up? Like, you mind doing something, working together? Like, it was someone else. I didn't know. Chavarda. Is that I said it right? Yeah. She actually makes beats, and she has came and DJ'd before. And Corey's like, "Yo, you asking me to make beats? Why didn't you hit her up?" I was like, "I ain't know." Like, so it's like I'm always like reaching out, and I'm like, "Yo, all right, trying to work sometime soon." So I got no shame about reaching out to somebody, man.
Word, yo. All right, let's wrap this up. Let's do a photo op too.
Oh yeah, you already know.
I made it for everybody that's listening. I made it to the last day, dude. They were gonna close out yesterday, actually, but the universe was like,
Yo.
Jamar coming.
You got perfect timing. You came exactly when you were supposed to.
Beautiful, man. Are you gonna do another one in New Haven? Oh shit.
Yeah, you already know. You gotta run it back.
Oh shit, about to get that run back, yo. All right, let's get out. Let's wrap this